4 feet at least. Yeah.
Are you logging on?
Yep.
So that should be sufficient, Jim, I think. But I say definitely make them aware that you're concerned if it is an issue. And how are you doing, Adam?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Hubby's okay?
Yeah. Yeah. He's good. How are you?
Good, good, no complaints.
Good. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you
after a
again,
while.
too.
Yeah.
I was away for a week.
Yeah. What were you up to?
I went to a Shaivism retreat in Temecula, down south,
Oh. Wow.
which was interesting.
Uh-huh.
So I'm still kind of like, the time sense in my mind is like completely off the list.
You better mute.
I took a leisurely drive home. I broke it up into 2 days, and still when I got home, I was like sleeping sickness for 2 days. As soon as I'd sit down for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Wow.
But now I'm waking up, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the information.
Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
helpful.
You're welcome. I feel very lucky. I was talking to my brother. My brother had his surgery, and that part is much better. But he still has so many physical complaints, and I'm just so lucky that I'm on a medication that makes things much milder. He can't get anybody to listen to him to try him on one of these drugs, and now it's kind of too late.
Mhm.
The damage is done.
And everything's well in your life, young lady?
Yep. Everything externally is great. Internally,
Oh no!
I'm just dealing with my own bullshit. Yeah. I'm fine today, but yesterday was really weird. So Chirag and I, we went to Santa Barbara over the weekend or the 4th of July, had a great time. Just walked a lot, a whole beautiful, nice vacation.
It's a gorgeous place, yeah.
Yeah. And then yesterday, we got back Monday night, and yesterday Chirag had the day off, and I was looking
Howdy, Om, come in.
forward to, spending the day and just having a good day. But I was in the weirdest mood. I was all upset and irritable and just cranky. I couldn't place why. So yeah. Just
The moon was in feces yesterday.
it was.
Howdy, Om.
I heard a great.
Hey,
way of
Auntie.
looking at this. Shakti likes to play a lot of different kinds of games, but it's still all Shakti.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yep.
Mark is going to be late.
Okay.
The trains are still not running with the frequency that they used to. And the earlier train he missed, so he's taking the next train. So he said he'd be about 5 minutes late. So, but he will be here today.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
That's one thing that people like me from New York kind of chuckle at the BART because it's such a partial solution geographically. But in Southern California, it's even less.
Oh, yeah. And what's so sad, not when I was a boy, but 10, 15 years earlier, there was a really good surface rail system all through Los Angeles.
Really?
Yes, they buried it in '55 when they did the highways.
Well, that was a mistake.
Oh yeah. Well, they didn't know.
And who would have thought that little desert town would have grown to be as big as it is? I never thought, when I was born, we were still south of 2 billion people on the planet. I never thought in my lifetime we'd get to 7 billion.
There's 7 billion now.
Over, like 7.1 or 7.2 billion.
Alexa, how many people are on the planet Earth?
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the world population today is approximately 7.77 billion.
And my 7.2 billion number was only from a handful of years ago. So it's a lot of plastic water bottles.
Sure is. Yamaraj is out doing his thing. He's the Lord of Death. Is there something on the floor?
No, Scott's here. I was just letting him in.
Oh,
Online.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were sweeping the floor. Howdy om, Scott.
Hi, how are you?
Well, how are things where you are?
Very nice. Nice breezy day.
Lovely.
It's been about 10 years since I had driven down south. I was amazed at how good the road conditions were.
Should go down 5 or the coast?
Went down 5, going down, I went down 5 about a third of the way, then I was routed to 99, which the last time I drove it was a poorly maintained 2-lane road. Now it's freshly surfaced, 3 lanes for most of it. It was really
3 lanes in each
in
direction?
each direction.
Wow.
It was my only problem was just driving through LA during peak traffic times.
Mhm.
So on the way back, I left early in the morning, and I made it back in 4 hours.
Whoa.
And without speeding, I kept to like 70 miles an hour.
4 hours from LA to Berkeley?
4 hours from Temecula to Berkeley.
Okay. I used to drive down there every summer to visit my mother, to Paris, California, where she lived. Right. Actually, they changed it. It's now right south of Sun City,
Mhm.
not Sun City, Utah, but Sun City, California. That's about halfway between Riverside and Palm Springs.
Mhm.
There's a big Air Force base that you used to pass. I can't remember the name. But she lived in a mobile, double-wide mobile on an acre of property. Her horses had better accommodations than she. A beautiful barn she had built.
Her house was the whole property.
She had the greenest thumb of anybody I've ever known. She could take a dead twig and stick it in the ground and it'd grow. It's just amazing.
Isn't it amazing that, it's very mysterious how some people just have a knack for that.
Not I.
Not I either.
I really don't have a few minutes. We'll start 5 minutes late in case Mark can make it in that time. And if without that, we'll just start meditating. And if he rings, I'll let him in.
It was shocking to come back, and it's just the difference in temperature.
Well, it's still overcast, it looks like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, this typical July weather in the East Bay. A little chilly and overcast. Meanwhile, just last week, it was the highest temperature ever recorded in Canada was just outside of Vancouver.
Lytton, Canada, I think it's called, yeah. It's like 121 or something like that. And it was the highest recorded temperature anywhere above the 50th parallel in the world ever.
Wow. Wow.
What I'm
That's
curious
scary.
is what's going to happen to the North Pole this summer, whether it'll finally actually melt and there'll be open water across a northern passage.
The environmentalists are very concerned because the polar bears may just drown. There's not enough ice for them to rest in between the long swims.
Well, and I saw somewhere that actually they can interbreed with brown bears or grizzlies, I'm not sure which, but they actually are the same species. There's just subspecies that have changed. So that's where they may have originated. Who knows?
That's something else. I mean, I was a very young man when Silent Spring came out, and I never thought things would get to this point.
What's Silent Spring?
It was the book in the early 70s. I forget the author's name, a woman who wrote about ecological issues, overpopulation, loss of water.
Well, I know for a long time they never considered the albedo effect of global warming. So the albedo effect has to do with the reflective capacity of sunlight off of ice versus water. Water, from the standpoint of space, is virtually black.
Yes.
So the more the ice melts and it becomes free-flowing water, that increases the rapidity of the heating.
Yes.
So like if you're outside and you've got a white car as opposed to a black car, put your hand on it, you can feel the difference.
But of course, this is all, the climate deniers, this is just conjecture.
Well, there may be cyclic things going on as well.
Well, but if your house is on fire, bringing in 10 canisters of propane doesn't help the situation at all.
I understand.
That's my retort.
Yeah.
And then they go, we don't believe in symbolic thinking. Okay.
Wow.
But my sense is, I think a lot of it is, I mean, not that we shouldn't absolutely get off of a carbon-based economy, but it may be too late. It may be too late. I don't know.
There were a number of very intelligent people in the early 20th century that predicted the only thing that was left to happen was gradually over time there'd be a dramatic decrease in population for a variety of reasons. And that in and of itself would limit damage and then things would come back.
Well, the other thing that I heard, is it time to start? We'll wait till Mark, give me a little bit of time. We're going to start in a couple minutes late, so Mark is late on the train to see if he can make it. But they were talking about like the Gulf Stream and all these currents, and then underneath there are these big conveyor belts of currents. And that if the fresh water towards the north becomes greater, it will stop those. So we might even precipitate another ice age, they were saying.
Yes.
Who knows? But I'm old. I won't be here.
Yeah, I'm right behind you, buddy.
I look at the, kids going over to Fairyland who are like 2 and 3. I think, they'll be around when the year 2200 comes along. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
They're saying everyone who's born in the past year, that the bulk of them will get to age 100 if everything continues the way it is. That's amazing. Well, when I was born, the life expectancy had barely reached 50.
Well, it's decreasing in the United States.
We've lost a few years.
And much of that has been death from the opioid addiction,
Yes.
has lowered the average lifespan. All right, we'll start now. We'll meditate. Let me text Mark the code and see, because he normally doesn't use that. The door code is *6554, period. Let yourself in. So where are we in our text?
Let's see. We are on page 75 on March 24th, 1981. Maharaj, if you sit here quietly, being one with the knowledge I am, then you are not concerned with the world or what goes on in the world. It is only when the consciousness starts operating and there are various movements in the consciousness that the behavior in the world takes place. When I am not conscious of the existence of the body, experiences are not registered. Just as the universe is contained in consciousness, so too this physical body is merely an appearance in consciousness, perceived and cognized by consciousness. No amount of effort can make you understand this. Only the deepest apperception of this in consciousness will make that experience happen by itself.
So let's stop there. So what he's talking about is the fact that the perception of the body in the phenomenal world is dependent on movement within consciousness, as he would say, or in chitta, or he's using the word chaitanya, this stuff of the mind. Now, we have one proof of this, because in deep sleep, there's only one vritti, and that's pure ignorance. And in fact, in deep sleep, where does your misery go? Gone. There's no individual and there's no phenomenal world. As we thin the mind, Yoga Vasishta has this wonderful word, Tanu Manasaha, the thinness of mind. As we tune up, enter into samadhi, the mind thins. And then the perception of the individuality and the body and the phenomenal world starts to become very diaphanous. And in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, both are gone. Unlike deep sleep, there's not the vritti of total ignorance. Only pure being remains. Now, you cannot practice per se Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's like trying to practice sleeping. You can only practice getting sleepy. Put on your jammies, maybe take a hot bath, have some chamomile tea or something like that. Fluff your pillow. If you're successful in practicing being sleepy, the mind of its own accord drifts into sleep. Likewise, what we can practice is Savikalpa Samadhi. This deep introversion of the mind, tuning it up. And the continual renunciation, two things, our attachment to the world and any identification. Let it go, let it go. By grace, at the appropriate time, the mind will enter into Nirvikalpa. Don't chase Nirvikalpa. The very act of chasing it creates a struggle in the mind. Any thoughts or questions about this? Actually, anytime the mind is completely free from mentation, these little moments between thoughts, what we call fleeting samadhis, you get glimpses of your essential nature there. All right, going on.
Anyone in that condition where the consciousness is present, but the registration of the existence of the body is not, even in that state, the conditions in the body change constantly. All of this is an appearance in consciousness. Therefore, consciousness has to suffer all of the changing conditions. In that state, any number of events happen. But all that is really happening is a total functioning against the background of this void, which in reality is really consciousness. There is no separate identity. What is this consciousness. Apart from that, no one can exist.
So to use other language, we talk about Nirguna Brahman, Brahman without qualities, and Saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities. What is the difference between Chit, pure awareness, pure being, and Chitta, the stuff of mind, what he's calling consciousness here, or Chaitanya? Somehow, no one ever explains it, by the Maya Shakti of the infinite, consciousness has the capacity to apparently fork into subject-object. The objects, in fact, are nothing but awareness appearing as name and form. But their imagination in the end. And the subject, there's a sentient and an insentient phase, a knower and everything known. All the joys and sorrows, pains and pleasures, honors and dishonors. Just the movement of Saguna Brahman. What he's saying is stay identified with the sentient aspect, with the eternal subject. Let the play out. Next one.
When you are very quiet, you have arrived at the basis of everything. That is the deep, dark blue state in which there are millions of stars and planets. When you are in that state, you have no awareness of your existence. March 29th, 1981. Questioner. If the consciousness in all the different forms is identical, then why do thoughts and actions differ from one human being to another?
That's a good one. Let's see what he says.
Maharaj, the thoughts and actions belong to the body-mind, and the body-mind is the essence of the 5 elements. The nature of the form depends on the various degrees of the 5 elements and the 3 gunas. The thoughts and deeds depend on the conditioning received right from the time the consciousness is there. Without the consciousness, there would only be dead forms. Consciousness and the body are kept in working condition by the food and medicine that we imbibe. In each form, the thoughts, words, and deeds depend not only on the conditioning the form has received after it has been created, but they depend on even earlier conditioning at the time of conception. The consciousness was latent in that birth chemical. How amusing it is that one identifies with the body. How long have you been following spirituality? Questioner. for 40 years. I was following the Who Am I of Ramana Maharshi, and I have read the book of Maharaj's teachings. Maharaj, so far so good. What do you understand about your own self? What are you? Questioner, consciousness. Maharaj, the ultimate is prior to any experience. I amness is the beginning of experience. On the ultimate, there appeared this knowingness, and the question arose, who or what am I? That feeling of being is not colored by form. It is just a feeling of being, of I amness. That was the first experience. Questioner, this is Maya. Maharaj, because you don't get the answer to who am I, you give the reply that this is Maya. You cannot catch it by a reply. With what do you identify? Questioner, I am the Brahman. Maharaj, this is not your direct experience. You are just repeating what you have read or heard. What do you think you are? Questioner, I have experienced. Maharaj, the experience can be there when the I amness is there, but prior to this experience, I am, what was the state? Questioner, I do not know. Maharaj, I am talking to you because you have the wisdom to understand. Questioner, can I stop this I amness and be before the I amness? Maharaj, what natural processes can you stop? Everything is spontaneous. Presently, you are in the consciousness, which is stirring, vibrant. Don't think you are something separate from this stirring, vibrant consciousness. You are part of the play of this consciousness. You, the consciousness, are the product of the food consumed. At the level of active consciousness, this, which is the self, and which is activity, there cannot be identity of a body. Questioner, how can I be convinced of this? Maharaj, when you remain still in yourself, then you receive the conviction. You stay in quietude. April 6th, 1981. Questioner, while I am sitting here putting questions to you, I feel at peace. Is it not a landmark showing progress? Maharaj, what are you talking about? You are talking from the kindergarten level. I am not going to address you as a student of the Mumuksha class. I am going to address the class of sadhak. How long have you been practicing spirituality? Questioner, since childhood, because my family has been practicing spirituality for generations. Therefore, I have a hobby of spirituality. Maharaj, very good. Nevertheless, you are still at the kindergarten level. The only solution is for you to give up your identity with the body-mind. Questioner, I know all of this intellectually, but I am not experiencing it, so I came for satsang. Maharaj, what do you mean by satsang? This is merely a conventional spiritual jargon. Now you go from here with the firm conviction that I am the Brahman, without any shape, form, or design, and without any mental inclinations. I am the mental manifest consciousness. When you realize that you are formless, there is no caste or creed for you. There are no concepts left. The mumukshu is in kindergarten, spiritually inclined, but identifying with the body-mind. The sadhak is one who has disidentified with the body-mind. A siddha is one who has stabilized in the knowledge I am, and in the process has transcended it. In this journey, you know very well where you are. Maharaj, to another person, speaking to another person, this young man's mother was on her deathbed, but I said with conviction that she was not going to die. This was some years back, and today she is still alive. His mother was so convicted that she was going to die that she had purchased the particular flowers which she liked for her funeral. I ordered her to get up and go and prepare tea for me. At that time, my attitude was that I am the Brahman. Today, that attitude is discarded. I had the firm conviction then that whatever I tackled would take shape, would happen. At this very place, many things happen. Bhajans have been going on here since 1932. I was the first tenant in the Vanamali building. There was more talk of other miracles which had happened there. There were a lot of miracles that happened around Maharaj, but he never cared to speak about the past or the future. Maharaj, people would come here hoping to get their problems solved, and when I would ask why they had come, they would simply state their problems. I would tell them, the very fact that you have come here means that your problem is bound to be solved. You can go. Now all of you are coming. Who is drawing you here? It is your own beingness. You are attracted to this place because of a certain quality in you. You are stabilizing in the highest state. It is not a worldly attraction which brings you here. Neither you nor anybody else knows anything about this attraction. The attraction for you is to be in your eternal dwelling place, that is, your home. When that attraction is there, you come here. Questioner. Scientists have been talking of the black hole into which everything in the universe finally goes. Maharaj, you are that absolute. You swallow the entire universe. April 10th, 1981. Maharaj, there is only the slightest touch of I amness left. Henceforth, people will be able to have only darshan. There is not much chance of talking. Whatever faith you entertain about me, that will stabilize in you. It is not the darshan, but your faith in the darshan. Unusual, rare, strange, astonishing, non-phenomenal. This is the kind of benefit you will receive.
Let's talk a bit about that word. Darshan, drish, pashyati, it's an irregular verb. There's probably two roots originally, a drishyati verb, but now that means to see. So darshan means the vision of something. The exoteric meaning of darshan is I had the vision of the murti, the idol, or the vision of the Mahatma. That's not what darshan really is. When we're in the presence of a Mahatma, we get the vision of our own nature. We have the jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom. Any thoughts on this? Going on.
Unusual, rare, strange, astonishing, non-phenomenal. This is the kind of benefit you will receive. The ultimate faith in the self. Total faith. Whatever you see, don't see it as a mere body. These are truly the limbs of that highest, imperceptible principle that is expressing itself. These limbs have reached the highest. Questioner. I am convinced. Maharaj, now that conviction is so strong for you that it can never be broken. It is total, complete, imperishable. April 11th, 1981. Maharaj, The core of this consciousness is knowingness, to know I am. It is not a personality, not an individual. It is a total manifestation. Beingness is there. It fills everything. Nevertheless, this quality I am is the result of the material objective body. In the seed, the whole tree is latent. In the droplet I am, all three worlds are squeezed in. The highest state is the state of a jnani. The first step is to be that droplet. In the process of knowing that droplet, you are out of it, and that is a jnani. A jnani is not obsessed by any calamities or any problems because he has transcended the I am principle. He watches the play as a witness. Now, understand clearly, this droplet of knowingness is a result of the food essence body. In understanding it, you are out of it. If this last step is taken, knowing that I, the absolute, am not that droplet, the consciousness, it has to only happen once. There is no more involvement with the play of the consciousness. You are in a state of no return, the eternal state. Whatever you think of as spiritual knowledge was gained in the realm of consciousness. Such knowledge is merely a burden upon your head and is going to add more misery. It is nothing more than spiritual jargon. This I amness is the very source of all misery. Are you in such a position that you cannot employ any words to express yourself? When I answer your questions at such great length, you should be reduced to a quietude out of which no words can come. I expound this knowledge completely and thoroughly. Have you the courage to accept it? If you have really understood what I have told you, you need not come again. Do not try to tell these things to all and sundry. Just don't speak of this elsewhere.
So, in the end, all of our Vedanta knowledge is a bridge. It is not the other shore. Gita says, he who knows, meaning I have all the information and data, I've read all the scriptures and can comment on them, knows it not. She who knows it not. Meaning the one who enters into that silence. When the mind is stupefied. She who knows it not, knows it. In the Christian scriptures, I think it's in the Gospel of John, I'll have to check. There's this one statement that Jesus says, and there's no precedent or antecedent, he doesn't explain it in any way. And he says, in a moment when you take no thought. Very, very interesting. Going on.
April 22nd, 1981. Maharaj, the whole universe is experienced in the consciousness I am. If that is not there, what else can ever exist? This consciousness is beating a drum. Everyone is carried away by the noise of the drum. Who looks for the drummer? Who is sounding and beating the drum? It is so amazing that no one casts even a glance at this speck of consciousness. Questioner, when I stabilize in consciousness, is that meditation? Maharaj, who is stabilizing? Is it not the consciousness itself? This one, referring to Jean Dunn, has understood her nature. It is all due to her faith in the Guru. Everything that has any concern with me is sacred to her. Everything that has any concern with me is sacred to her. Unless you have such faith in the Guru, you do not attain faith in yourself. Some people go about to this Swami and that Swami. For what? To lick at their leftovers. If they lick their own leftovers, how much better would it be? Stick to your own consciousness. Remain in that. All the burden of your concepts you should fuse into your consciousness, but do not use your consciousness to build up the edifices of concepts. Questioner, habit is a great force which makes one stray, isn't it? Maharaj, the habit of considering self as the body has influenced everybody too much. The knowledge I am is your Guru. Be in it.
Can we stop there? The deeply rooted conviction that I am the body actually is nothing but a mental habit. That's all it is. So, for example, if you're a smoker and you want to give up smoking, what do you do when the urge to smoke comes? You don't indulge it. Going on.
The knowledge I am is your Guru. Be in it. Who is the one who sings the bhajan? Is it the intellect of that Guru? Who are you? An intruder? Oh, sorry. Who is it? Who is the one who sings the bhajan? It is the intellect of that Guru. Who are you? An intruder? Of course, the action of the whole world depends on this intellect. But when this intellect reaches its apex, it gets merged into Parabrahman. You all go on writing a diary of your own concepts. I tell you, finally, it is utterly useless. It will only serve as an instrument of bondage. June 5th, 1981. Maharaj, you now know that you are. How has this happened? Because of what do you know that you are? You have to go to the source. 100 years earlier, you did not know your own existence. You had no problems at that time. Now, because of this knowingness, all the problems have started. This I amness has appeared because of the body. So what knowledge do we have about the body, and what knowledge of this I-ness? Questioner, when the body falls, when the person is dead, do the memory and the consciousness remain? Maharaj, both the memory and consciousness are the quality of the food body. When the body is not present, there is no question of their remaining. The I amness is a quality of the food body, but that is not the nature of the true self. Questioner, what is Turiya? Maharaj, Turiya means that only you remain. Nothing else remains. So long as you know that you are, everything is.
Okay, let's stop there. So Turiya, the word means the fourth, and it comes from Mandukya Upanishad. And in the normally it's studied with the Gaudapada Karika, which is like a gloss. A karika is like a gloss. It's not as in depth as a Bhashya, which is a commentary. And in the Agama Prakarana, the first chapter, the Upanishad itself says, all this is Om. All that is beyond this is also Om. Om is divided into Chatushpada, 4 quarters. And then Gaudapada says, it's not like there are 4 mind states, waking, dream, deep sleep, and Turiya. We have 3 mind states, waking, dream, and deep sleep. What is the awareness, the consciousness in which those 3 rise and fall? And it's still there when those 3 mind states are gone. It's the 4th in the order of discussion, not a 4th mind state. Is that very clear? Many people get confused. You will see people who don't have direct experience talk about Turiya as if it were another mind state. Any questions about this?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's not, Turiya isn't anything to attain, it's more of a recognition of what's there.
It's not even that. The recognition would happen
Yes.
in the waking state.
Yes. So it's like
It's another name for yourself.
Yes. So in the first book I read of his, he described states that awareness came before the I thought, then became the I thought, and he could see things arising and falling in consciousness. But who he was even before the I thought.
Yes. Remember, the self doesn't get realized.
Yes.
It doesn't awaken.
It's there.
Both bondage and liberation occur to the mind, occur to what he would call consciousness, the chitta, the chaitanya.
Jim, and
No, is
then,
ever free.
oh, sorry.
Question?
So Turiya is just saying consciousness, emptiness, God. That's
Well,
what it is.
I would, we got to be careful about what we mean by the word consciousness. Do you mean how the Maharaj community is using it, or do you mean it the way Swamiji's community uses it?
God. I don't know. It's just
Consciousness, as
Maybe I
Maharaj
should-
uses it, listen carefully.
okay.
Consciousness, the way Maharaj's community uses it, is a translation of the word Chaitanya. There are states of consciousness. In our community, we would call that mind, various states of mind. It is the mind that is in bondage. It is the mind that awakens. The word chit in Sanskrit means pure awareness that never undergoes a change. That
That's what I mean. That's
Go
the
ahead.
one I mean. That's the one I mean, because you were asking me about which one I was referring to. So I am referring to that one.
And so what's
So
your
that-
question, sweetheart?
So that consciousness is Turiya. That is for me God. Is that Turiya?
The ground of being, Parabrahman, Chit, Chidakash, the space of pure awareness, that is Turiya.
Within Christian terms, say that's God, like God.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The Christian church would say that God is a creator. Yoga would say the creator God also exists in Chaitanya, in universal Chaitanya. Next time you come over, we'll maybe do a little bit of work in Mandukya. All this is very clearly laid out. So in Mandukya, we talk about what we call Ishwara, which literally means the Lord, he who wishes or intends. It is the total vasana, the sum total of all the potentialities that have ever been. Even that is not the ground of being. So Brahman is the context in which Ishvara, the Lord, exists.
Yeah, maybe I didn't mean God in the Christian way, but because now I'm like thinking that I am departing from that God, getting into another. I can't even describe the name. You say Turiya, and I just wanted to know if it's that what I guess the Buddhists call emptiness.
You're getting caught up in thoughts, Susali.
Okay, it's just
stay with your own direct experience. Don't worry about God. Let me tell you a story. Slow down. Let me tell you a story. So there was a Catholic priest by the name of William Johnston who taught theology in Kyoto, Japan. And he was keen on exploring Zen Buddhism. So he goes to take a sesshin, a Zen retreat. And he has his dokusan, his interview with the Roshi. The Roshi says, how's your meditation going? What are you doing? And Johnston says, well, I'm sitting in meditation and I'm using the technique of the cloud of unknowing, where I'm endeavoring to pierce that cloud of unknowing and putting thoughts beneath me and stuff like that to know God. And the Roshi says, good, good, good. Keep at it. Pretty soon your God will disappear. And Johnston gets a little bit upset. And, do you argue with the Roshi? And he says, well, I thought I would disappear and God alone would remain. And the Roshi goes, yes, yes, it's the same thing. So
now I get it. It's just like trying to see with the eyes, trying to hear with the.
In your thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
Drop it.
Okay.
Give up your God, which is just an idea.
Wow. Okay.
When you find out who you are, then you'll find out who God really is, not your ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
In Christianity, in classic mystical writing, we have some technical words. We have what we call cataphatic theology and apophatic theology. In cataphatic theology, we say God is life, God is love, God is truth, God is light, God is being, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient, all this sort of stuff. In an apophatic theology, we say God is not light, God is beyond light, can't talk about it. God is not love, God is beyond love, can't talk about it. God is not omnipresence, God is beyond omnipresence, can't talk about it. Unknown, everything you've ever known about God Because all you can do is know words. God is not figure-outable. You will not know God through your intellect. That's like trying to taste the color yellow. It's the wrong instrument. But God
And
is
then
not.
why? And then why are we defining Turiya and and all this?
I'm sorry, can you take off the headphones? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. I don't know how to do it.
Is this better?
Much.
Oh, really? Okay. So then why are we talking about Turiya and what the syllables and what, all this? Why?
Good question. We use the words and thoughts to come to a place that's beyond words and thoughts. If the words and thoughts don't bring us to silence, then the Guru has not done his job.
Okay. All right. I just feel like I like we're beating the horse with, the dead horse, and then I'm thinking, when is it gonna end? When are we gonna?
You come see me.
Okay.
You
All right.
will not find out about the place of silence on Zoom.
No, I don't think so either.
You
But thank
know
you.
there's a difference when you're here.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I can feel it there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Going on.
Turiya Maharaj. Turiya means that only you remain. Nothing else remains. So long as you know that you are, everything is. Find out what you are, and you will get all the answers. Find out the source of the body and the source of this I amness. If you find this out, you will know what you are. Whatever changes is not yourself. This body is continuously changing. It was not there, it appeared, and it will disappear. It is not you. Find out what you are. The important thing is the consciousness. You must give your full attention to the consciousness itself. That is the process of meditation. Then all the secrets will be revealed to you by the consciousness. The consciousness likes that self-love. If you are interested in the consciousness only, you will come to know it. If you are interested in the world, then it means you are not interested in the consciousness. If you are interested only in the consciousness, then the consciousness will unmask all the secrets, and then you will know what you are. This you will know who you are. But awareness means pure consciousness, and there is no I there. Watching yourself, that itself is meditation. To keep only consciousness without mixing it with anything, that is knowledge without words. That you are. Thoughts will be there, but they will be weaker and weaker, so only the feeling of I amness will remain. Just consciousness without any activity. Watching your activities is on a lower level, like watching anger, etc. That is identification with the body-mind. Questioner: does Maharaj feel his body? Maharaj: I come to know that everything is through the consciousness. Just as I see you, I look at this body, but I am apart from it. I am not identified with the body. Consciousness is not male or female. It is like light. Light also means heat. When the temperature goes down, the doctor will say that the patient is no more. Questioner: what about in reincarnation? Maharaj, even this birth is false. The quality of I amness is because of the body. You don't know whether you exist or not in deep sleep. You don't know you are. You don't know you are. That is all. You were not born at all. Only the announcements of your existence is there. You existed even prior to your birth. Your existence is eternal, but the knowledge that you existed came about when you were a few years old.
So what I like to do is ask the question when we're discussing reincarnation. Do you incarnate into a dream? Or is the dream in you? Is the dream this strange phenomenon where the appearance of a dream body comes about with a dream world and a dream ego identified with the dream body for that time? It feels like I'm inside the body. But were you in the dream or was the dream in you? And if you dream about a bag of gold coins, when you wake up, is the bag of gold coins on the pillow next to you? So can we say the dream is really in you? This is no different. Why get upset about it? Going on.
You existed even prior to your birth. Your existence is eternal, but the knowledge that you existed came about when you were a few years old. Just worry about this birth. Why worry about reincarnation? Think whether this birth is correct. June 7th, 1981. Questioner: how can one control the mind? Maharaj, you accept only good and discard the evil and continuously recite the name of God. That will help you gradually control the mind. What is acceptable to you and gives you peace is good. What your mind rejects is not good. When you do something and there is fear of failure, that means the mind is not pure. Questioner: how does one develop a liking for chanting the mantra? Maharaj, in the company of the sages, you can develop it. From 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., what goes on? Consciousness comes to meet consciousness. There will be no other talk except some communication between consciousness itself. There will be no other strange third person or individual meddling in there. God has come to meet God. You know that whatever sentiments arise, you are not those. June 9th, 1981. Maharaj, Rajneesh is not a small personality or small principle. He is tremendous. He is very big. He is a great sage. When you already have a guru, Rajneesh, why do you visit other sages? Since you already have a great sage as your guru, you should not sit here or come here. I do not like those shiftings from gurus to gurus. I do not like wanderers. What is the difference between Maharaj and Rajneesh? Once you remove the letters, that is the names, what is the difference? You investigate the wanderer's eye before you investigate others. What is the product after you remove its name? What are you without the name or the label? You investigate the investigator. Investigate I am. Before you take up the assignment of inquiring about others, inquire about yourself first and see if you are real or unreal. The letters I am are written spontaneously with a certain ink. What is that ink which was used to write that which you are? In that ink with which the letters I am were written, in that ink the title of Tej Shesh Bhagwan is confirmed by the Vedas. Shesh means leftover, the remains. What is the leftover that means what you are? Maharaj then asked someone to leave and not to listen to these talks. One who has understood one's mystery as to what is, that one will not discuss or argue the largeness or smallness of anyone. You have become a slave to a concept, and having become a slave to one concept, you are fully involved and immersed in more concepts. You are drowning in concepts. Having got caught up with the concept that you are, the first concept, you started giving names and titles and ideas to others, and you became enmeshed therein. Although one may call oneself a Jnani, one enjoys entertaining himself with a number of concepts. Although such a one knows full well that he is not going to get anywhere, still one becomes busy with a number of concepts. That Taj Shesh Bhagwan has spontaneously come and will spontaneously go. What are you going to get for yourself as I am? In what position or concept did you stabilize yourself as I am? The firm conviction that I am this, the three states, waking state, deep sleep, and the knowledge I am, are the aspects of that Tej Shesh Bhagwan. You are not that. Questioner: then who am I? Maharaj: the prominent and firm reply is only you are. You throw the hooks with bait into the water to catch the fish. In that way, you, with the concept that you are, throw in the bait and haul in lots of concepts for yourself. So when the question followed by the answer is there, then everything which is refused, what remains, is that rejection. Prior to any other recognition, you already are. If you are not, other people are not. You are supporting yourself on the intellect of the body, and having stabilized in the body or the intellect, you are creating or inviting a lot of concepts, and in the concepts, you are bogged down. You are talking about others. Let me know what you are. I am asking about you. What are you? You, the observer. Questioner: Maharaj knows I do not know what I am. Why is he asking me? Maharaj: I am not talking to you. Consciousness is talking to consciousness about consciousness. Who told you that Maharaj is talking to you? Your basis itself is wrong. One appearance noticed another appearance of a fly. That is why this automatic gesture. If I understand what I am, that is merely an appearance, then I will know the others are appearances also. Therefore, I will have no questions, arguments, or quarrels with them. But if I don't understand myself and I ride on the wings of a concept, then I prefer my appearance. Questioner: since Maharaj is only talking to consciousness, he will not talk to my ignorance. Maharaj: Ignorance will remain there for all time, just as knowledge will remain for all time. There cannot be knowledge without ignorance, and there cannot be ignorance without the correlated knowledge. Both are the opposites in manifestation. One cannot remain without the other. Even this concept about knowledge is merely a concept. With a jnani, there is no concept of either ignorance or knowledge. The total absence of all knowledge or ignorance is that state prior to the arising of consciousness. But you try to interpret whatever I say with various concepts, and you condition yourself with all these concepts. Questioner: Maharaj is taking everything away from me. I have nothing to hold on to. I will fall.
Yes.
Maharaj: you will be broken into how many pieces with that fall? With all that, do what you like. Another person is searching for himself, but you are hiding. Questioner: what is reality? Maharaj: whatever is permanently there, immortal, unchanging. The eternal ever is, a non-experiential state. Subsequent to that is the consciousness, I amness, the body experience and life. Your experiences are in the realm of consciousness. In the realm of consciousness, you cannot have the experience of truth. As a matter of fact, there can be no experience of the truth because you are that in the ultimate analysis. How can there be the experience of the truth? It is prior to the beingness. Questioner: what can one do for the continuance of that experience? Maharaj: no experiences are permanent. You are the permanent. Experiences are there in the realm of consciousness, which is bound by time. Questioner: how does one go beyond time? Maharaj: how did you come? Experiencing things happens unconsciously or spontaneously. Knowingly, you cannot go into that. Questioner: can we come out of it knowingly? Maharaj: you want to step out? One must know exactly what is time and what is you. You must get to know that first. What is your step? You want to step out of time? What is time? Questioner: time is desire. Maharaj: not at all. Time means space. Questioner: there is separation in space. Maharaj: whatever you have placed before Maharaj as knowledge are all mistaken concepts. Do you have the knowledge that birth means misery? Questioner: pain of birth, not the knowledge. Maharaj: just by playing with words and concepts, you will not be emancipated. Questioner: what should one do? Maharaj: don't even accept the concept that you have to do anything. Questioner: what should I do with the pain? Maharaj: the way it has come, it will go. Questioner: have I to become idle? Maharaj: jump about. You understand what I say, but you are afraid that whatever so-called knowledge you have collected is being devalued. Krishnamurti said whatever he has said, very rightly, but do you assimilate it thoroughly? Whatever Maharaj tells you, you try to absorb it through concepts. June 10th, 1981.
How much longer is this section?
I just started a new section, the June 10th, so we can
I think now is a good place to
pause
stop.
here. Yeah.
Any thoughts before we finish up?
Yeah, Jim, when he was talking about foods, so would you consider internal impressions of thoughts, emotions, the internal phenomenon, would that be also considered a type of food?
Well, I'm not sure, but the idea here I'm thinking of anything that comes into us, gross or subtle, as food. So sensory impressions, which then can generate thoughts and feelings, as well as physically what we put in our mouth. So whatever you find pleasurable or unpleasant in the world only is communicated to you through your senses.
Yes.
And part of it is you may be riffing on what the scriptures call the physical body, the annamaya kosha. Annam literally means cooked rice in Sanskrit. So it's the food sheath. You consume a mountain of food, it digests, and then you produce a mountain of food, which becomes food for us. But there's no Cartesian split between mind and body. Our thought life, our emotional life, and our physical life is a visible and invisible dimension of the same entity, the same upadhis, conditions. So, can what you eat affect your mind states? Absolutely. Can your mind states affect your physical body? Absolutely. You know, in New Age metaphysics, they say change your thinking and your body and your experiences will change. You go through behavior modification, they say change your experiences, behave differently, and your mind will change. Yoga says yes. They're both true because mind and body are not different in any way. I don't know if that makes it a
Yes.
little clearer.
Yes. It is a good question. Thank you.
Any other thoughts or questions? It's a little short book called The Spiritual Teachings of Ramana Maharshi. And in it, a disciple asks, what must I do to achieve a sattvic mind, a pure mind? And his answer is quite funny. He says, eat sattvic food. But it means on all levels. It means drink sattvic thoughts. Eat sattvic feelings. Don't gross out. Now, Master Jesus said something very interesting. In Judaism, there are ritual food proscriptions, just like in Hinduism. You know, you don't eat something with your left hand and all this kind of stuff, and only Brahmins can cook for Brahmins and all that kind of business. But what Jesus said a man is defiled not by what he puts into his mouth, but by what comes out of it. Very interesting. All right, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Love you, Susali. Come see me.
I will. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody.